Today, we're doing something a little different. We're going to open up a really personal diary, a 3-day journey that walks us through the intense anxiety and, well, the fragile hope that comes with major medical uncertainty. Let's get into it.
So the story kicks off with this line, a riddle. Think about that. It just perfectly sets the tone, right? The author isn't just starting a new month, they're staring at this giant puzzle, and every single piece is a medical test. The final picture? Completely unknown.
And yeah, that really is the heart of it, isn't it? What does it actually feel like when your entire future, all your plans, are hanging on what happens on one single day? We're about to see exactly what that emotional weight is like.
All right, so let's dive into Act 1. We're starting on day 1, a Tuesday, and you can just feel the weight of this huge, high-stakes appointment. It's still 2 days away, but it's already casting this long, long shadow over everything.
This whole story, this entire emotional roller coaster, it all happens in just 3 days. But each day has its own distinct flavor. First, you've got the anxious wait. Then comes the frustrating daily grind. And finally, the verdict.
And wow, look at this. This makes the anxiety so real. This isn't just some vague worry in the back of your mind. This is a literal checklist of anxieties. Each one of these is a huge question mark. You've got your standard stuff like cholesterol, but then you have chimerism, which, by the way, is a massive deal for measuring a transplant success. Every single line here is just heavy. So that's how day 1 ends. Just stuck in this phase of passage, as the author puts it. They're searching for some peace, some serenity, but it's completely out of reach, basically held hostage by whatever's going to happen in a couple of days.
Okay, so now we're moving into Act 2. This is day 2, Wednesday, and the pressure here is totally different. It's not about one big, scary appointment anymore. Now it's about the frustrating day in, day out grind of it all.
On Wednesday, it's 2 more vaccines. That brings the grand total to 10 out of 24. Just think about that. They're not even halfway there. It's this constant visual reminder of how long and grueling this whole recovery process really is.
And this is where you really feel the human cost behind all those numbers. The author had to miss a lunch with friends just to be safe, and you can feel the disappointment in the writing. It's more than just a medical rule. It's this heavy, isolating weight, you know? It just walls you off from your own life.
And to make things even worse, there's this growing frustration. You're hoping a doctor will say, hey, you can relax a little, but nope, it's the opposite. It feels like no one is willing to take the responsibility, to give that green light and just say, go live your life. So you're just left in this endless state of caution.
And that brings us to Act 3, Thursday, the big day, the hematology visit. All those worries from that first checklist, all that anxiety, it's all about to come to a head.
So, the hospital visit is over. The doctor has said their piece, and after all that waiting, the results are in.
Okay, first up, the blood work. And right off the bat, it's good news. The doctor says the key things, white blood cells, hemoglobin, they've actually gotten better. That is a fantastic start. Even the platelets, which are a little down, are considered totally fine.
And then, the big one, the chimerism results. Remember, this is the key measure of how well the transplant is working. And the number? Over 99%. The author literally calls it excellent. This is just huge.
And from there, the good news just keeps rolling in. It's like a domino effect. The liver's getting better, so they can cut the meds in half. Vitamin D is almost perfect. They might even get to skip the next bone marrow exam, which is a huge relief. That whole checklist of worries we saw at the start, it's just getting completely taken apart, piece by positive piece. The next visit isn't for another 2 months. Wow.
So with all that medical stuff out of the way, the whole feeling of the story just shifts. It's not about the clinical results anymore. It's about what those results mean, you know? It's about the incredible emotional change that follows.
And this slide just sums it all up perfectly, doesn't it? On one side, you have the beginning of the week, all that anxiety, a mind just jam-packed with medical questions and what-ifs. And on the other side, clear, positive answers. That feeling of being stuck in limbo is gone, replaced by, well, a newfound sense of calm.
And this quote, this is really the peak of the whole journey. These results have given me so much serenity. You can just feel the weight lifting off their shoulders. Finally, a chance to live more lightly, at least for a little while, until the whole cycle starts over again.
You know, in the end, this incredibly personal 3-day story leaves all of us with a much bigger question.
It's not just a story about blood tests and appointments. It's about resilience. It's about how we manage to find some peace when we're right in the middle of a storm, and how we find that calm even when the future is still, a bit of a riddle.